What's good, people? Welcome to another episode of Duffus Meets, and today I'm super excited to say that we'll be joined by DJ Flight. DJ Flight, in my opinion, is one of South London's finest female DJs, and she specialises in drum and bass as well as alternative music. Flight has many accomplishments. She's played on many radio stations, including Rinse FM and BBC One Extra. She's played in gigs and festivals across the world and across the country, and today I'm super excited. So let's get into it. Boom, I'm super gassed to be joined by the legendary DJ Flight in the building. Flight, what's good?
I'm good. Good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a long time. This is blast from the past business.
Too long a while. But yeah, thanks for inviting me.
No, 100%. So obviously, what I want to get in today is around sort of like the DJing and stuff like that, which you're well renowned for. I guess my first question is, how long have you been DJing?
It's going to give away my age. So 97 is when I started properly. So, geez, that's 24 years. Well, yeah, when I first started mixing properly and joined pirate radio and then had my first gig.
Mad. So let's take it back. All right, let's take it back. To go back to them sort of times at the beginning and stuff. And I guess my question is, what was it that made you think, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
Well, I'd obviously been hanging around you guys as Garrison, the crew that you used to run, putting on your events and stuff. And so that kind of inspired me to be involved in the scene somehow. I designed your logo for your early parties. But it was when I saw Chemistry and Stormplay for the first time that something must have clicked in my head and made me say, okay, maybe you could actually be a DJ rather than just a graphic designer or something else related to music.
Because obviously, back then, obviously you was doing sort of like your art and like photography as well, kind of.
Yeah, so I did graphic design at college and was into photography and actually started a degree course in documentary photography, but dropped out after one term only.
Wow, yeah.
So it was pretty quick, but if I'd have stayed there, it was South Wales as well, Newport, so there was none of the music going on at that time that I was really into. But if I'd have stayed there, then I wouldn't have started DJing and my career wouldn't have begun.
So with that, when did you get your first big break in the music scene?
I guess the first big break would have been a couple of years after I started, so 1999. Became a part of the Metalheadz crew, which is Goldie's label and events. And then, so that would have been my first one. Then became a resident DJ at some other nights, and then I guess the second major break would have been joining the BBC in 2002 for the launch of One Extra.
Nice, and we're definitely going to get into that. I guess with all of that, like, what do you enjoy most when you're DJing?
Do you know what? I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I think it's just a mixture of things. I guess the feeling of connection and community with people, because everybody there in the club or festival at that moment, at the stage, wherever you are, is there for one purpose, and that's for the love of that particular music that you're playing. So I guess that kind of reminds me of my early raving days, but just hearing the music that I really love played really loudly and trying to tell a story through that, and hopefully the people that I'm playing to understand it and feel it. That's quite a deep question, actually. What do I enjoy most? There's a lot of things I enjoy about it. I love that I've been able to travel and seen different places that I probably wouldn't have got to had I not become a DJ. I've made some really great friendships over the years. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, no, for real.
I kind of didn't answer the question there, sorry.
Yeah, I kind of got an answer from it still. I mean, look, you've worked on a number of radio stations over the years, like from Rinse FM, you touched on the stuff with One Extra, and that's what I was going to say, you were part of the original crew from BBC One Extra and stuff like that with your show, The Next Chapter. So, like, how did that all come about, and how was that period?
So it was through a woman who I knew from, she used to run her own PR company, Mailing Out Records. She used to sort me out with promos and white labels. Then I kind of knew that she'd started working at the BBC, but on Radio 1, on the Fabio and Groove Rider show, she was the producer of it for a while. And one day she just asked me to do a mix, like kind of heard murmurings and rumours, oh, there's a new station starting from the BBC, digital, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really know what that meant at the time. It didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty tunnel vision with my gigs at that point and residencies. She asked me to do a mix. I did one. She liked it. She said, can you do another one, but with you presenting on it? I said, no. Because at that point, I wasn't hosting any of my own shows. If I was playing on Pirate or community radio, then if there was an MC, then they'd be chatting. If there wasn't, it would just be
radio
90
silence.
or 120 minutes of music. So I did another mix, didn't host it. She liked it, and then they called me in to do a couple of pilot test shows, and then said, yeah, this was literally like in the space of a few months before the station launched, because I think they were looking for 3 drum and bass DJs at that point. Obviously the schedule covered a lot of different music and stuff. They called me in, I did a couple of pilots, so couple of practice shows that were just broadcast to the 3rd floor of where 1Extra and Radio 1 were at the time. They gave me the slot.
Heavy.
Went from there. So I was kind of the mix DJ at first, and then I got the Friday night permanently a couple of months after the station launched, and I was there for 5 years.
Wicked.
Yeah.
So you touched on this as well. I mean, you've played at obviously like many gigs and festivals and stuff across the UK and in different countries and stuff like that. Where would you say are like some of your favourite places you've been, like countries you've played in abroad and stuff in UK?
One place that I wish I'd got to spend longer in is Japan. So I was there for, I think it was like 5 days total, and I played in 3 cities, so Tokyo, Osaka and Hiroshima. Basically didn't really get to see anything of Osaka or Hiroshima because it was, the first day is obviously a write-off because of jet lag. So I slept most of the first day, had a little wander around Tokyo, played on a radio station there. It was just really amazing to see I don't want to say clash of cultures because it wasn't really a clash, just the old culture and the respect that Japanese people have for it mixed with the really futuristic and looking forward side. So like technology, but then you would see beautiful women dressed in like the old dress garments with waistbands and stuff. So that was incredible. Some places in Italy I really love, like Florence is really beautiful. Sardinia I love, Venice. Some places in the States. I've been to some nice places.
Oh, nice. So I kind of feel you have a reputation as well for championing other females within like sort of like the music industry, and you're like one of the co-founders of EQ50. What is EQ50?
So EQ50 is a collective of women. We're pushing for fairer representation in specifically drum and bass because that's the music that we mainly operate in, but hopefully it will spread across dance music. There's a lot of people working for that at the moment. So there's a few of us, myself and Mantra are the co-conveners, so we kind of make all the big decisions between us, basically. Then there's Sweet Pea, who runs our Instagram and Facebook group and social media pages. MC Chickaboo, the legend, is part of it. Jenna G is part of it. She's a more recent, she became a member more recently. And we just launched our first mentorship program last year, which was a lot of work. But after the death of George Floyd, and there was just this huge swelling for Black Lives Matter and social justice, we kind of thought it was something that we'd been talking about for maybe a year or 18 months before that, but I saw the opportunity that...
Timing was right.
COVID, a lot of people are furloughed, they're not going to work, they're not as busy as they were. This is the perfect opportunity to approach labels and get it started. So we're working with 5 established record labels. We've got 6 mentees because one of the labels, Ram Records, took 2 people.
Nice.
So it's 5 women and 1 trans non-binary, and they're all doing really well.
Wow.
All smashing it. One of them, the Shogun Audio mentee, she's had 1 tune out with them already, and they want to put out a solo release by her probably later this year. A couple of the others have got releases slated, and they're all just doing really well.
Massive.
It's amazing.
That's an amazing piece of work, man. You guys are doing a really good job. And I mean, the thing is, as well as DJing, let's not ignore or exclude your other talents in terms of you're a radio producer.
Yeah.
And a podcaster, which I found out about as well. I was like, yeah. But you know what? I want to hear about that.
So it got to a point where it was actually after I lost the One Extra show, and my bookings took a real nosedive, and I wasn't earning as much money, and I started working at Black Market Records just to have a bit of extra cash coming in. But it got to the point where I was thinking, this shop looks like it's going to go down the toilet, for want of a better phrase, soon.
Yeah.
So I started looking around for a job. I'd been helping out at Rinse actually as a broadcast assistant, so
Right.
just helping with a couple of the live broadcasts of a couple of shows, just making sure that it stayed on air, dealing with the shouts and levels and all that kind of thing. I did that for about a year, but I needed money basically.
Yeah.
And then I saw this job pop up at the Prison Radio Association. They were looking for a broadcast assistant, and I thought, well, I've got years of music experience behind me, a little bit of like actual radio experience, even though I'd been a presenter for years. I didn't have as much production experience, but I went for it and I got the job. And I'm still there 8 years later.
Wow.
I've obviously progressed a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really rewarding. So I'm usually based in Brixton Prison. We broadcast to a majority of the prison population in the UK, so it's most of the prisons in England, all of the ones in Wales, and 1 or 2 in Scotland, male and female. And we're on 24/7, we broadcast 24/7. During the pandemic, everything had to change because we usually work with 2 small teams of prisoners in Brixton and Style, which is a women's prison just outside Manchester.
Right.
But because we couldn't go into prisons anymore, we had to start doing everything from home. So I've been making like 3 or 4 shows a week for like the last over a year.
Wow.
Which is cool because one of them is a dance music show, which I know like the back of my hand, so it just feels like I'm just making my own show as a DJ anyway.
Yeah.
Some of them are more speech-based. But yeah, it's been interesting. It was really hard at first, but we kind of all got into the swing of things. And the response that we've had and the communication from our listeners, people in prison, has been absolutely incredible. So yeah, it's a really worthwhile job, and we all know that we're doing a really great thing by doing this. So I enjoy
Wicked, man. And as well as that, you had a little spell where you produced and co-produced some of your own tracks. You had run a record label and all that as well. Yeah, a lot of stuff, man. a lot of stuff. I guess for me, finally, like, what advice would you give to any young person or young females that are sort of like really would like to get into, say, like DJing and stuff like that? What advice would you give?
You've just got to be really determined and to succeed, because it can take a really long time. Like with social media and how huge that's become as part of music or art or film, or I've even heard an actor say that like some producers and directors look at how many followers someone has on Instagram to decide whether they're going to give them the job or not. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter how many followers I have online if I'm good at my specific
craft,
then that's all that matters. So yeah, just work really hard, be determined, try and seek out a little crew or tribe of people that you can kind of run with. Try and form and forge some really strong but genuine relationships, and make connections with people. So if there's a certain style of music that you really like that you might not necessarily have been out to yet because you've been too young to get into clubs, or just the pandemic has completely wiped that out. Try and find people online. There are hubs, there are like Facebook groups, Twitter, SoundCloud. Use all of that to your advantage, and just stay the course and enjoy it. Really, but also be realistic with your expectations, because nothing happens overnight.
Right, amazing, kid. Nah, that's dope, man. So finally, right, I'm gonna do a little quick fire round, and normally when I do this, people like squirm in their chair. So I'm gonna ask you 8 questions, and the only rules of this game is that you literally got about 5 seconds to answer each question.
Okay.
I think you'll be fine at this, but there might be 1 or 2. All right, are you ready, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Question 1, Techniques 1210s or Pioneer CDJs?
Oh, can I not say both?
I'll let you off with that one. Pizza or Nando's?
Oh God, it depends what type. Pizza.
House music or 80s classics?
Oh, I might have to go for 80s classics, because that can include house.
Clubs or festivals?
Clubs.
Best set you've ever played, and where was that?
Jeez. I don't know. Glastonbury.
Vinyl or digital?
You kind of asked me that in the first one. Both, yeah. Vinyl, because I like the tactile niceness of it, the tactile feel, but digital because it's convenient.
Name 2 of your favourite tracks of all time.
One's easy, Frankie Knuckles and Jamie Principle, Your Love. And let me go for something drum and bass, jeez.
So too many to choose from.
Alex Reed's Basic Principles, that is really random, but yeah.
Who is your music icon, or one of your music icons?
I'm going to go random in this one. Grace Jones.
Nice. Best female DJ?
Me.
Boom. Flight, it's been a pleasure. Wicked, I really enjoyed that.
Thanks
for
very much.
coming on Duffus Meets.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap, baby.